Guys, why isn't he exposed?
You can't keep getting away with it!
Welcome to my channel. My name is Koji. In this video, I'm going to talk about Dexter, the original Dexter, not the sequels. All right. So first of all, I really like Dexter. It was such a great experience to binge it all in a couple months. I really liked it. I like the concept, story, characters, and comedy. However, honestly, I was shying away from watching it for so long. I was like, a TV show about a serial killer? It's too dark, man, too dark. I was skeptical at first. However, the total show is not what I expected at all. It's more lighthearted, which is all thanks to, all the supporting characters like Deborah, Misuka, Angel, Quinn, Rita, Aguada, and you name it. These people so like lighthearted, upbeat, relatable that they neutralize Dexter's darkness and the gory aspect of the show. It's well balanced, the darkness and comedy. Speaking of comedy, I really like the dynamic between Dexter and Deborah because they're polar opposites, right? Dexter is like cold, logical, emotionless, whereas Deborah is emotional, impulsive, outspoken, confrontational. Like Deborah is so overwhelming that Dexter is always perplexed by her. It creates this awkward, weird silence in their conversations, and I really love it.
A baby? A motherfucking roly-poly, chubby-cheeked shit machine? Are you kidding me?
Well, I've never heard it described in quite those words before, but yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna be a father to the kid.
Ow! Of course you are, you moron.
Deb?
Shut the fuck up. How could you even say you're not gonna be a father to that kid?
And we got Masuka's skeevy comments and obviously Dexter's deadpan narration. He's, cynical in the monologues. They're hilarious. It almost feels like watching a prototype of Joe Goldberg in You. I'm pretty sure the showrunners of You modeled Joe after Dexter to some degree. Like Dexter is Joe, basically, without horniness.
You gonna rape and kill me?
What is it with you and rape? No one's raping anyone. Killing, on the other hand.
Dexter is such a complex character. He's really layered and twisted. Despite being a psychopath, he has a strong sense of justice. He specifically targets other killers for his victims. It's a code that his dad taught him when he was a kid. He loves killing. He gets off on it, right? He's dictated by this strong urge to kill. He can't control it. So he kills people to keep him suppressed. So for him, killing is the most important thing in his life. Nothing else matters, even though he has a social life. He has a respectable job, a great sister, a beautiful wife, stepkids. But his social life is a facade for him, something that he maintains to blend in. He is incapable of forming genuine human connections. However, towards the end, he changes for the better. He develops real bonds with Deborah, Lumen, Hannah McKay, and Harrison. He changes for the better. However, he at the same time unravels after season six, specifically after Deborah finds out Dexter is the behavior butcher. He like becomes more violent, selfish, and unlikable. I stopped rooting for him after season six. It was just, I hated it. His selfishness and all. He got Rita killed because of his selfishness and obsession with the Trinity killer. He could have killed him like right away, but he played with food. He put a Sukuna, or Kaido, whatever. He played with food and he got Rita killed. And for that, I hate him. Also, I like the story structure of the series. In each season, there are always two plot points, right? Plot lines, rather. The plot A is Dexter's double life, right? We see him like sneaking around, stalking people, breaking and entering, killing people, dumping bodies into the ocean. So plot A is about his like nightlife, right? While the plot B revolves around the Miami Metro homicide and the investigations into a given serial killer in a season. And this is what makes the story so effective because the tension comes from Dexter's balancing act. He has to play both sides because as a forensic expert, he needs to deliver enough results to keep his colleagues satisfied, keep them off his back. But at the same time, he needs to manipulate evidence to mislead colleagues to protect his victims. He wants to kill them before they, arrest them, right? So he needs to play both sides. And it makes him, you know, his double life is hanging by a thread. There's a lot of close moments on the show. Like, for example, he often like runs blood for DNA in his own lab, right? Of the books. Like he does it for himself to, track down his targets, right? And often someone walks into his lab, right? So yeah, he needs to close tabs like, hi Dave. He needs to pretend all the time. And it makes you wonder like when he's going to be exposed, like when he's gonna get caught, right? And that's why a lot of the audience sticks around, right? That's what keeps you coming back. And I remember as I got deeper into the show, I my anticipation for Dexter getting caught was building and building. I was like so excited to see him behind bars. Except it never happens. Why? Someone please explain why it didn't happen. I mean, I thought Dexter getting caught was a promised plot point, like Chekhov's gun. I thought it was going to happen. That's why I stuck around, you know? That's what kept me watching. If you make a show about a serial killer, it's your responsibility to bring justice to him, right? You cannot end the show as something that just glamorizes a serial killer, right? You need to send the right message. Killing is wrong. It's great that the show illustrates why society, the world needs someone like Dexter. There's a lot of criminals who slip through the cracks of legal system. I get it. We need a vigilante like Dexter. However, at the end of the day, this is a show, and Dexter is a fucking mass murderer. He needs to go down. That's the right thing to do, right? Besides, they could write a lot of emotional moments out of it. Like they could squeeze dramatic juice out of it. Like, the whole department's reaction to it, Musuka's reaction to it, Dexter's court appearance, like trials, Dexter behind the bars, like Dexter's like deep reflective moments in the cell, and his final conversation with this imaginary Harry and all. It is such a missed opportunity. So disappointing. I get why a lot of people say this is the worst season of television. I get it now. It is really disappointing. However, as much as I'm disappointed in this ending, I don't think season 8 of Dexter is the worst season of television. Not even close. That title automatically goes to Game of Thrones season 8, right? No shows can beat it. No way, no how. Because, you know, I think the disappointment comes from the gap between expectation and reality, right? And expectations for Game of Thrones season 8 were really high, like at the top of the mountain, right? It was supposed to blow Breaking Bad out of water, right? It was supposed to top Breaking Bad, right? It was going to be the best TV show ever, right? And it took a nosedive, right? Plunging into the ocean, all the way down to the ocean floor with Dexter's victims. So, yeah, no, Dexter season 8 is not the worst season of television. It is for Game of Thrones, right? But, I didn't like it. Yeah, it is, you know, right behind Game of Thrones, I guess. Yeah, it's really disappointing. Yeah, that's my, you know, opinion. But I really like the first, 4 seasons of the show, and it went down here after season five. So overall, it is 7 out of 10, maybe. So yeah, that's my review on Dexter. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.